ASMR, Ancient Egypt, Legends, and Tales. I have had past lives in ancient Egypt, and I really felt drawn to make this video. Have you ever noticed that all the monuments and hieroglyphics, especially in the Valley of the Nile, have pictures of a lily or the lotus flower? Even on headdresses, thrones, and pillars. Even Ramesses II was buried with the narcissus bulbs of a type of lily. The lily, or the lotus symbol, is even in tarot cards. The lily stands for purity, hope, and faith, as well as royalty and prosperity. Legend has it that the lotus was brought to earth from the star Sirius by Isis. The Sirius star is considered to be the home of Isis. I actually resonate with that star. In fact, I have written some poems about this, and I'll place them below. Ancient Egyptians had spells for being transformed into a lotus, and this also meant resurrection. There are also legends that say the lily's arrival to humanity is also linked to the beginning of the world. Ancient Egyptians used flower essence therapy as well as aromatherapy. And legend also has it as far as Cleopatra used many different types of aromatherapy to lure men in. There was a fire that destroyed the Great Library in Alexandria. The tarot book from the ancient Egyptians was the one book that was not destroyed in the fire. After this fire, it's said the sages got together and decided to pass the ancient wisdom down in tarot cards. The pictures on the cards tell the secret mysteries and stories of ancient Egypt. It has been called the hero's journey or the path of the initiation. It helps you on your journey towards the truth of oneself. The messages are not easy to depict. Only initiates would be able to decipher the messages. The tarot cards are believed to be a bridge between consciousness and unconsciousness. The twin flame concept was derived in ancient Egypt. Isis and Osiris were one before they came to earth, and then while they descended to earth, they were brother and sister. When I also think of ancient Egypt, I also think of the pyramids and the Sphinx. There's a legend that says before Tutmos was a pharaoh, he was a prince. One day, he fell asleep in front of the Sphinx. When he fell asleep, he had a dream in which he was told that if he restored the Sphinx, that he would become a great pharaoh of Egypt. And he followed the instructions, and his dream came true. The Sphinx was further restored by Ramesses II. Speaking of Ramesses II, another very interesting story that I have seen several times either online or books is the story of Seti. Seti was her name in a past life. Her name in this carnation is Dorothy Eady. She remembered her past life in ancient Egypt. She was a high priestess and was sworn to celibacy in her past life. She met Seti the First, who was the father of Ramesses II. They fell in love, but once it was found out they were both forbidden to be together, and she took her own life. When she reincarnated in this lifetime as Dorothy Eady, Seti the First was able to speak to her from beyond the veil. I believe one of my incarnations in ancient Egypt, I was also a high priestess and sworn to celibacy. I think that Seti's bloodline had a karmic cycle passed down, that this kept happening to him and then future generations, that they would fall for a high priestess and this would happen. And I believe in one of my incarnations that when I was in ancient Egypt, it was at the time that Ramesses II was alive. Thank you for listening, and I'll put the links that I mentioned earlier in the comments below.